Okay, and we're back, everybody, from break. I accidentally hit the stop record button instead of the pause button because I'm basic. It's pretty much what I got. It's like my youngest tell me. It's like I'm basic. So we'll edit that and get that fixed next time we play. Let's go ahead and share the screen and bring us. Actually, I want to do this really quick and back that up a little bit. Okay, let's minimize you. Now let's share screen and get us back into this battle here. I don't hear you. Are you playing? Sound, come on now. Yeah, I hear something. Okay, that's good. Okay.
If you want to turn that up some, I can't hear it at all.
Okay, I will then. I'll turn up a little bit. I like having it, but sometimes your guys' voices are a little muffled. And I don't like it being too overpowering. There we go. That'll work. Is that too loud for you guys, or is that okay? We're good?
Yep.
Okay. It's like someone say something for God's sake. All right. So it was now Tamyra's turn. Tamyra.
Yes.
This thing has just blasted everybody with this tail sweep thing. You saw them all go through this. You saw Bastille fall to the ground in front of you, bloodied. As he hits the ground and bounces, he coughs up and blood comes out of his mouth. He is 5, 10, 15, 20 foot up above you to the right, and this creature has darted off to the left. You also know that Tamyra, or Valdara took a nasty hit and then was trampled over by this creature as it has spun on its heels and turned around, now getting ready to face us. What is it that you're doing? There are people that need help, and there are people, but it's up to you. Ignatious is up in the air flying. Ignatious, if you want to share a word of wisdom with her, you are able to use your free action and shout down to her since you're that close. Danny, you can cry out something that may be helpful to you, whatever you guys want to do. We'll start with Ron. Ron, is there anything you'd like to do in this interaction?
Being inexperienced, I don't think he has too much to shout to her. So he's just going to kind of try to figure out what he's going to do next.
Awesome, buddy. Okay. Danny, are you saying anything particular?
Well, I gave myself a 50-50 shot since I took such a shot there.
Yeah.
Mostly what he says is kind of...
Say that again.
Oof.
Okay. All right, that works. Tamyra.
Yep.
What would you like to do, young lady?
I'd like to go over to, is it Bast?
Yeah, Bast
the
or
one?
Bastille, whatever you want to call him.
Okay. I would like to go over to Bastille and cast Cure Wounds.
Okay. At what level?
What was your question?
Oh, I just, she's going to go over
Probably.
to him and cast Cure Wounds, and I asked her at what level. Because at the base,
Probably.
you can read the spell card, at the base level that it's cast at should be there, and it will tell you how many points that is, and then at the bottom of the card, it will tell you if you cast it at a higher level or you spend more magic points, it can be more potent. And that's what you want to read up on.
Right.
It's basically 1d8 per level.
Yeah.
Right. I'd like to go ahead and cast it at the second level.
Okay. So 2d8 plus, does it plus anything or is it just a basic 2d8?
Spellcasting modifier.
Awesome. I think yours
Yeah.
was a 4. So 2d8 plus 4. It's charisma based.
All right. And 1, so 11.
Okay, and Danny, you receive 11 hit points back as she comes over and casts her major action spell on you, Cure Wounds.
All right,
Okay, from
he's
that,
just under bloodied now.
okay. You have 10 more foot of movement, and you have a bonus action still that you can use, Alex. What would you like to do?
I'm still within 30 feet of Ignatious, right?
Well, Ignatius is up in the air, 20 foot high.
Oh. Gotcha.
He is actually flying above what his shadow is.
Ah, okay. Then I would like to use my movement to get within 30 feet. And should have enough.
Also, you can do it from there.
Okay. And cast Sanctuary again.
Awesome. She's keeping you up to date, buddy. Okay, good job. It's a good round. And now we bring it back. Okay, buddy. Good round. You got Sanctuary on him. You've done your other move on Bastille. Very good. You've used your movement. All you have now are reactions left over. So that is pretty much the end of your turn. And also, Tamyra, the good news is, to get over close to him, you've put yourself behind a pillar, which is out of the major line of sight of the Behemoth for the time being.
There's not much left of that pillar.
Oh,
That
that's
was
right. You're
before you
standing
tail swept.
amongst you're standing amongst rubble. I keep forgetting. Thank you, Ron.
Mhm.
I could fix that real quick and copy this and put it down there, I guess. Let me I don't want it. No, we'll do it later. Okay.
We're all moving away from there anyways.
Right on, I hope so. Anyway. All right, so that is the end of your turn, unless you have something else you'd like to say or an interaction of anything like that, Tamyra. Other than that, we're going to move on to Valdara.
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay. With that, she just looks up at you and gives you a knowing nod, Ron, as you have Sanctuary activated back up again. Now we're going to go to Valdara. Valdara was bloodied when she got trampled. And your concern, Ron, would be for her at this time. You've seen that Danny was healed to a degree. There's some blood spatter to come out of him as he made that long land as the Behemoth did the spin attack and threw him off. But as you look over, you look at Valdara, and she stands up, and I want you to roll a perception check for me.
So, 12 plus perception, 8, 20.
Okay, keep that in mind. Danny, need you to roll 1d20 and a 1d4 and tell me what the total is.
Two ones.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, good time to get those out of the way.
Okay. You would notice that when Valdara turns and she faces this creature with a perception check of a 20, Ron,
Mm-hmm.
a darkness begins to come over Valdara. Something not light, something not angelic, but something dark begins to wash over her. as she stands herself up, and you see her cracking her neck and moving her shoulder around as she grabs her blade. She looks down and she starts to look menacing. You see the shadows beneath her feet begin to grow. And this you almost feel like tunnel vision thing, like in the Psycho movies where the cameras do all the weird kind of action. There's something very strange.
Would I
go ahead
with that perception check versus the 2? Would I put like 2 and 2 together that this is similar to like when I felt the like aura of fear off her when I first met her?
Absolutely. Good call, buddy. I'm glad you're up to date. This is it. Now that was such a low roll, and that was the DC for her to overcome this. You see the shadows suck back up to her slowly, as if she has been able to fight off this urge to destroy from within her. And as she does, you see her take a long, deep breath as she recenters herself and focuses. She says, not today. Not today. Today you meet the real Valdara. And she says, and she goes in for her attacks. Okay? At that, she is going to move right up into melee range of this son of a bitch, and she's just going to have at it. All right, so Valdara moves right up to the chest of the son of a gun. She has never been knocked unconscious yet. She's never been stunned after this thing hit her, after it trampled her ass, after everything else. She still held her own, man. And she is going to put it on this piece of shit if she has anything to say about it. The first thing she is going to do, she still has the Blade of Wrath is still there. Okay, she is going to invoke Ooh, I can do it. Okay. Blade of Punishment. Oh, that's right, because I can do it when she's bloodied. Once this limit has been reached, the Herald slams her weapon onto the earth and punishes her foes with an automatic legendary action that does weapon damage with bonuses, plus equal amount of fire damage to everybody within 20 foot of her. So 20-foot area, so 10 foot this way, 10 foot that way. If the Herald takes an adversary to 0 hit points on this, she uses fear on everybody else within that area because they've bared witness to what she's done. So this is a saving throw. This isn't even an attack for this son of a bitch. The saving throw on this is going to be, this will be for 4 half damage of that. And Danny, this will be the first time you've ever seen her do this. This may look a little wickeder than the stuff you've seen her do before. This is taking the control of the element of fire. Okay? So the DC for this, that's a good start. 14 plus 22 altogether. So this thing has to beat a DC of 22. Danny, I would like for you to roll a 1d20 and a 1d4 and tell me what you get.
19.
Okay, it did not pass the saving throw. So, with that, I am going to use her ability. I'm going to add 1d4 damage to this because of her weapon skill. And this will do her weapon damage times 2 to everything within 10 foot out from around her. And then, once it hits, it is, make sure here, 20 foot. Okay, yeah. Okay, yep, let's roll it. Let's do it up. Okay. So this is a very neat combination of what looks like a firestorm. This is going to look like lightning and flames, which is a really cool combination, erupting around her in a 10-foot area all around her body as she performs this attack. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. 10, 13, 15. 23 times 2. 46 points of damage on that ability. And that takes her turn. But when she does, she takes that sword and swings around and scrapes it across the ground like that in a big swipe. And as she does, this lightning bolt, this lightning shoots up from the area and like a roar of blazing flames shoots up and ignites really quick from all around her and then burns and singes the stone around her as she burns the front of this creature. What did I say that was damage wise, Danny?
Oh, you said 46.
46.
Yes.
Okay, with that, I have to roll something for the creature. Okay, it is going to take its reaction to do a counterstrike against me because it was hit in this area. 10, 25. Lots of stuff, lots of stuff. Okay, it hits me, but it does not breach me. With that, the creature bats me to the side with its horns, reaching down and counter-striking against the strike that I just made on it. The horns damage is a lot. Damn. Damn, that's a lot. I didn't realize it was that bad. Shit. Let me get some D10s here. Yeah, that's right. I said multiple D10s. Oh, fuck. Woo! It didn't breach me, so I get damage resistance against it, but it did 29 points of slashing damage with its horns as the recuss of that. Just come down and swipe like that at me. My armor deflects so much of that. Okay, and then I take 9 points of damage to my armor points. My armor is on the verge of starting to show some significant wear. As you see, a piece of cloth and a leather strap or so of my armor falls on the ground to the side of me in the repercuss of that vicious attack. I have to roll to see. But in true Valdara form, because of her strength, when she's in this form, it does not throw her back. She holds her ground. As this hits her, it spins her, knocks her down to a side, and you see her catch herself with her arm on the ground. And she throws her hair back and looks up through one eye with blood coming out of the side of her mouth. And she just grins and spits on the ground as it didn't even knock her off her feet. But she is wounded. She looks rough. Okay? With that will be Valdara's turn. The top of the turn, Bastille. You are up, my friend. What are you doing? You are prone and you are... Okay, so when she healed you, I want you to roll another check to see if it would have maybe possibly cured the stun condition. Roll me a Constitution saving throw.
I got a 15 plus 2, 17.
Okay? You got it.
Probably because you didn't tell me Constitution before I rolled.
That's what it was, yeah. So because of that healing, and I know that's not directly in the books, but it's something I want to just kind of flirt with here, and it makes sense to me that if she healed you back physical damage of that much, I think it had a chance of getting rid of that condition, as far as it just being dazed. Now, if she does a lay on hands, it wouldn't have fixed like poison or stone or something like that, but this was a mental, you were shaken from physical force. So I think the healing runs a chance of fixing that for you well. Not automatically, which is why I had you roll for it. Remember that we do that, guys, in the future. If it's ever your turn, okay? Danny, she's able to snap you out of it, and then she goes over and casts Sanctuary on Ignatious. You are up. Spiritual guardians are still flying around you. You are quite a distance away. You are, I'll tell you in just a minute. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. 40, 45. You are 50 foot away from the creature.
He's going to take half his movement, flip up to his feet, which for Bast, it's pretty spectacular looking. Like he rolls his feet around and then pops up to his, without touching the ground with his hands, rolls up to his toes, and he looks at the creature for a second. And then he takes off running with the last of his, actually. Yeah,
Yes.
he will.
Have at you! Right?
So that gives him, you said 60 feet is how far away I was?
I think I said 50.
50. All right, so he is going to, because he has half of his movement, which is 22 and a half, so call it 20 because we round down.
Yep.
He's going to take off sprinting 20 feet. And then he hurls his dagger up above the head of it.
Okay.
To use a free action to Eldritch Gate above its head.
Okay. Go ahead and roll your attack roll.
20 total.
Okay. That'll do. You run over there, you're able to chuck the dagger with some kind of proficiency up above the head of it. How far above the head of it, Danny? I'll give you a chance here.
Just 10 feet.
I was going to say 10 foot's about the limits of it. So let's go ahead and do that.
So this
Above the
time
head
he's
of the
going to do
gun.
something different. As he chucks that dagger, the other dagger he lets go of. When he catches that dagger, he catches it in both hands above his head. And using the called shot expert feat,
Okay.
he's going to strike at its eyeball when he comes down. Which side is Valdara, on the left or right side of his head?
Should be on the left.
That's the eye he's going for, so he can't see her. If
Okay.
it works.
Okay, so this is a large creature, which is -2, but this is going to be a -8 for your attack.
Okay, well, I
Putting
get a
both
plus.
hands on it.
The cool part is, with Called Shot Expert, you may attempt called shots 1 through 6 one time per turn and gain the ability to re-roll your outcome one time. DC of 15 plus proficiency bonus versus potential effect. We know that's different now.
Yeah.
Because we changed that. The character can also choose to perform a single concentrated called shot as a full turn action, getting a +3 to hit and +3d6 to damage.
Okay, so that's awesome. And when you're doing that, so now it's going to be a -5 to hit. So all you're hitting, you're not doing the armor class breach. And we've established that its armor class primary is a certain number. So I'm going to add 5 to that number, and that's what you've got to hit this thing in the eyeball.
All right, and just for a heads up, the backstab works. The backstab damage works once, or sneak attack works once per round. You don't need advantage on the attack roll if another enemy of the target is within 5 feet of that enemy.
Which it is.
That enemy isn't incapacitated, and you don't have advantage on attack roll. So because of all that, I'll also be able to add back or sneak attack. Used to be
Okay.
backstab. I'm
I
still
rolled a roll, and it actually perceived you coming down on it this time, so it is not surprised.
all right, but I'll still get the die rolls, just not critical. All right, so a 16 plus 14 is 30 for the attack roll, +3 is 33.
Okay, 33 strikes the eyeball of the creature.
All right, so 1d6 for the dagger. That's 5. Oh, no. because a reroll for the outcome is different than advantage. I could possibly miss if I fuck that up. I was thinking
Correct. Correct. That's right.
Yeah. All right. So the dagger is 5 plus 3d6.
Add up that damage real quick. I'm going to get another beer. Just a minute. Daddy's thirsty.
14. And the backstab. 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 33, 33, and the save will be.
Oh, yeah. Did you get the NAS computer to help you figure up your damage, Danny? Ron's slapping.
38
He's
points.
still rolling.
Yeah, he's still rolling.
No, he is.
38 points of damage. But the DC, the DC for the potential save is 19 plus my proficiency bonus, which is 4. So he's got to be to 23. And I believe that's a Constitution save on the called shot.
And with the last bit of energy this creature has left, he uses his what may be his last legendary action to pass and is not overcome from that effect.
Dang. Because, man, that was.
Touche, Rogue. Touche.
All right. So I'll use my. Oh. Ah. Also, he should make a wisdom saving throw versus a DC of 18.
Right, okay. $17.
Haha. Full damage.
Damn
this
you,
time.
Danny.
That's
Freaking
14,
human blender.
20, 27 plus 6. 32 points of damage, and his movement is halved.
Okay, so what was the damage you did to it on your own first?
38.
Okay. And then, that's not reduced at all. Okay. And then, what did your guys do? How much?
32.
Okay, that takes damage reduction because that's not focused on anything else. Okay, I have to do math real quick. Just a moment. Talk amongst yourselves as I figure out the devastation that you have caused here. Damn, bastards. Okay, it looks pretty rough, Danny. It is still holding on, but this thing is breathing heavy. There is a lot of blood. There is a lot of wear and damage and tear. And when you put that dagger into its eye, of course it cannot see out of that eye, but that last feral resistance it had makes it where it doesn't cause any kind of ill effects from your move. The creature is in dire condition. What are you doing?
I'm going to use my bonus action. Oh, fuck, never mind. Because
No, you're not.
I've got a bonus action left, but it won't do any good because I can't. Oh, yeah, I can.
Oh, God, what are you coming up with now?
I can't because I can strike a bonus action with my daggers. I forgot he still got his, even though he left the summon dagger behind, I could either use a bonus action to summon that dagger, or I can use a bonus action to draw one and stab.
Right, you get
Only
one
does-
extra one a turn. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got one more
So-
attack in you if you do that.
Would be back to the same eyeball. Well, same area anyway.
Right.
Because I can't actually do 2 cold shots in a turn because it's
Very
once per
good.
turn.
Someone wrote those rules pretty good.
So total of 26. Hanging on this one right beside it.
Okay, you 26 hits and breaches. Oh no, 26 just hits. It does not breach.
Okay. Well, because those daggers are only 1d4, that is 7 points of damage.
Okay, as that one hits, roll me a 1d4 plus 1 for the damage you do to its armor points.
1 or 2 total.
Okay, so as that dagger comes down, you hit some of the hard brow above of the creature, and you're able to just barely poke into the actual strong musculature and thick fur and hide of this creature, but you don't feel that you drew any blood on that extra attack. But it did carve off a little bit of this and maybe weaken its defenses to a degree, but it did not strike true into the creature. Okay, with that, is that the end of your turn, Danny?
Yep, the only thing I've got left is a reaction.
Okay. Ignatius, my friend, my flying hero, you are up above us, sir. The little girl doing her shit there to give you inspiration to show yourself for who you truly are. You are at the place of your shadow. What would you like to do, Ron?
How far away am I from Valdara?
You cast tape measure, and you are 70 foot away.
Okay. I'd like to move 20 feet forward towards her. So half my movement.
Okay, you're there.
All right.
That puts you 50
as
foot
a-
to her.
What's that?
That puts you 50 foot within her.
Yep. I am going to cast as a bonus action Healing Word, which has a range of 60 feet. I'm going to cast it at a level 4.
Awesome.
So that's going to give me 4d4 plus my wisdom modifier.
Which is 5.
Yep. So 4d4. Oop, dropped one.
I will give you rerolls on ones because of what happened with the interaction of the girl in the crowd and the faith that is temporarily gave you. So you will be able to reroll ones on this.
Oh, that's great because I got 2 ones.
And I'm not doing that just because it's Valdara. I think it's very theatric and fitting of the situation.
So that gives me 14 points healing.
Awesome. Got it. That brings her back over top of the bloodied condition. That gets her out of being half down. That's very helpful, man.
Can you guys hear the rambunctiousness in my background?
A little bit, but not very much because the music's getting louder at the moment, so it's kind of working out well.
I've got a house full of kids, so.
It's all good, buddy. No, it's not that bad at all, Ron. I can hear you great.
All right. I'm actually gonna have to turn you up because I can't hear you over them.
Okay. Go ahead, buddy.
Bunch of 20-year-olds and 15-year-olds.
Hey, as long as they're not drunk and they got all their clothes on, you're in good shape, buddy.
They are playing board games or computer games. I think they've got a big LAN party going on down there. So
Nice.
I think that's part of why my internet is so bad tonight.
But I just let you know, on our end of it, you've been coming across pretty good. You've went out a couple times, but when you're on, it's perfect.
All right, yeah, I get a lot of lag spikes when you guys are talking. So.
Oh, okay. Well,
But
sorry about that.
they've got like 7 laptops plugged in down there playing games together. So. All right, so okay, so bonus action, I cast a healing. I still have my connection to this beast. I am going to tell it to lay down and not necessarily expose itself, but just lay down and wait.
Okay, so for everyone watching this video that maybe doesn't remember from the last time, explain how this has all come to be and what you're actually doing, please. Because I get it. I know what's happening because we discussed this. But please go ahead and enlighten us.
As a knowledge domain cleric, I have a ability with channel divinity that I can read a creature's thought and then use my access to that creature's mind to command it. So if I cast this on him and it fails the saving throw, I connect to it and I can feel what it's feeling and kind of know its motivations.
Which you did that the last episode.
Yes. And then once that has happened, during the next 1 minute, I have connection to it. I can use that time and cast suggestion without any magic point cost or spell slots. And it automatically fails against the save for that spell.
That is badass. That is next level foresight. So the only issue we had with this is that if the creature can actually understand you. Now, in your knowledge, you realize that this thing understands the commands of giants, obviously. So we were going to have you roll a persuasion check just to see how well you convey what you're trying to say to the creature, because you do not talk giant, nor do you talk behemoth. So we were wondering, because it has to be able to understand what you're saying. That was a stipulation in the spell. But I believe with a proper check here, you can at least convey what you're trying to say to this creature. So go ahead and roll me that check and tell me what you get, Ron. And if you got inspiration, if you don't get it, now would be the time to use it.
Yeah. I rolled a natural 17 with a persuasion of +5, so that puts me at 22.
You got it, buddy. This works, and it doesn't have any defense against this now. It has used its shit up on that last thing Danny tried to do. And you actually say this to the creature. When you say this, Danny, something very, very strange happens. You know this creature's on death's door, but you feel doubt. You feel a tremble within it. And as you look up and trying to discern what direction this is coming from, you see Ron's character pointing down from the sky, almost like an angelic being himself, making his descendants proud, and uttering some words. You see the feathers once again stand up on his head, up as his eyes begin to white over, somewhat like Storm from X-Men. Okay? As he says these words, his hand seems to displace and moves out of time for just a minute as these words echo throughout. You feel the creature twitch a little bit as its elbows collapse, and the behemoth drops down on its knees and elbows and puts its head down with its horns resting heavily on the right and left of Valdara, as she stands there in between its lowering horns, now eye to eye with the creature that has lowered itself and is looking at her ferociously and is laying down on its belly now in a submissive prone position. Ron has done something pretty awesome here. You're not quite sure how he did it, but he got to this thing and made it obey him. Ron, is that the end of your turn, or do you have some more?
That is, I've got half my movement left, but I'm gonna hang on to that, and I'm gonna stop there.
Okay. That's awesome, buddy. That's awesome. You guys suck. So it is now going to be the Behemoth's turn. Okay.
Mhm.
Does he get the roll again at the beginning of each of his turns to see if it still affects him?
Yep.
I do not believe so. Let me.
So, I mean, once you cast it, I mean, it wouldn't just last for a long. I think they get a chance to.
I think it's like 8 hours to complete the task I give it.
No shit.
Yeah, because a lot of times you use it to like send somebody to go trade something at a market, you know, or whatever, do your bidding, more than a combat spell.
Okay. So,
I'm looking for it here.
guys want to make sure, because if so,
Yeah,
that creature's not going anywhere.
right. That was my plan. And then everyone gets their turn before the creature again.
Yeah.
Also, at the beginning of its turn, it should make a wisdom saving throw.
Now, if it gets hit, does it break that, Ron?
Yes, it would break it, I believe, because it can't do anything that would like be direct injury to itself. Like I couldn't make it hurt itself.
Okay. So let me ask you this, Danny.
Yeah.
Danny, do you want to call your guardians off because you're not sure they have enough to do the finishing blow on this thing? And do you want to go ahead and attack it and break this? You're getting a freebie if it does hit it, but you got to wonder how much it's going to inflict. It's up to you.
I would say I'll give Bast the 50-50 on that to see, like an
Okay.
insight check or something. Would that be cool? Insight? Wait,
Yeah.
let me see which one. Yeah, insight. He's 14 plus. Where's wisdom at?
Now it doesn't say an
16.
attack breaks it. It says if I try to make it do something harmful to itself, it ends the spell.
And what is the name of the spell again that's affecting it now?
What's that?
What's the name again of the spell that is affecting it currently?
Suggestion.
I'm going to look at it myself for just a minute.
Sure.
Because if damage doesn't break this effect on it, that's pretty freaking badass. Once I find this out for sure, Danny, then we'll move on to what you're doing, okay?
Like I said, this wasn't necessarily meant as a combat spell, so it's really vague as to how that would affect.
Okay, we're going to find out now. I love it, Ron. I think this is great. Okay. You suggest a course of action limited to a sentence, which you said lay down, and it understood you.
Lay down and
Magically
wait, yeah.
influence a creature you can see within range. Creatures that can't be charmed are immune to this effect, but you could charm it. Suggestion must be worded in such a manner as to make the course of action sound reasonable. Sound reasonable. Asking the creature to stab itself, throw itself onto a spear, immolate itself, or do other obviously harmful acts ends the spell. So that's the debatable point there. Because you have to get to lay down in front of people that are trying to kill it. That's a debatable point. Let's move on, though. The target must make a wisdom saving throw. It failed that, obviously, because of what you set up very brilliantly. Thank you. It pursues the course of action you described to the best of its ability. The suggested course of action can continue for the entire duration. The duration, of course, like you said, is up to 8 hours. You can also specify triggers that will make it have, okay? And if, okay. So I'm going to say this. DM's call here.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't asking it to jump on a spear exactly or do something that was going to damage itself, but you were asking it to do something that would put it in harm's way. So I'm going to say that it listened and did that part of it, but as soon as this thing is damaged, which would be throwing itself on a spear, something of that nature, I'm going to say the spell ends.
I think that's fair.
I think that's a good medium, and I'm going to make that call. Okay, remember that in the future. That's awesome. So with that, Danny, the question as it was presented to you earlier stands. How do you want to go about this? Do you think, and you rolled a pretty high check, the last time you hit this creature with the spiritual guardians, it didn't pierce its defenses, but it did hurt it. It's up to you to decide if this is going to be enough, or you want to give someone that can put on a hell of a hit to do the finishing blow. Up to you.
With him knowing that, I think he would dismiss him.
Okay.
If I'd failed the check, I would have absolutely hit it, but the dice gave me an out that time, so I'm going to take it.
Okay, just a minute here, buddy. Let's see how the music worked out for that. Okay. So with that, you've decided that you do not want to do the finishing blow with your spiritual weapon, as you are still remaining on the top of this creature's head. Okay, as it now lays down, you are staring back at Valdara. Okay? As Valdara looks between the two horns of the creature like this, you and Valdara are almost eye to eye. And as she looks angered and shit like that, you've looked at her deciding possibly that she could destroy this thing in one blow, whereas your spiritual guardian may not. It's a neat theatric how this all happened. It laid down right across from you and you're on its head looking at her. You give a nod and you blink the spiritual guardian out of existence. The behemoth sits there dormantly, just snarling. You can hear heavy, labored breath from underneath of the thing. The war drum still beating from the portal on the other side. The next person's turn is Tamyra. Tamyra,
Alrighty.
this creature is in bad shape, and a possibly very strong attack could finish it. It is bleeding out and being held at will by Ignatious at the moment. You are 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. You are 30 foot away from the creature.
Okay.
What would you like to do?
I would like to cast Ryland's Pillar of Judgment again.
Okay. Awesome. And is that a third level spell?
Yes.
Okay. That is 21 magic points going for the day. 7, 7, and 7. And describe to us what this looks like and what it does.
Alrighty. You summon a lightning bolt-like pillar of radiant energy down from the heavens upon a 15-foot cube within range. And the range is 60 feet.
Awesome.
All creatures within this area take 2d6 radiant plus 2d6 lightning damage, plus your character's charisma bonus on a failed dexterity save, and have as much on a successful one. In addition, up to 3 allies that you choose within the area of effect are healed for 1d6 plus your charisma modifier.
So what's awesome about this, Alex, is not only are you cracking down this thing hard, but you are healing Danny and Valdara at the same time, because they are all within that area. That is baller, my dear. That is very good. Now, does that damage increase if you cast that? Well, you can only go up to 3rd level, so that's what it is. Okay.
Does that lightning?
No dexterity save for the creature. It's held there. So
Does that lightning charge Valdara's blade as well?
Of course it does.
Awesome.
But I don't even know if that'll be necessary. So she's going to roll 4d6 plus her charisma bonus. And since that sucker cannot move, I'm going to give you automatic rerolls on 1s for damage. Okay, since it is laying dormant. Tell me what your 4d6 plus your 5 or 4 from your charisma bonus are. And you also have, now remember, you have empower spell too. Some skill points on that. So your spell magic does extra damage. For every skill point you have spent on empower spell. You need to remember that. That's on the left side on your skills and feats sheet.
Uh-huh.
I think you have 2 or 3 on there.
I have 2 on empower spell.
So this is not, so your charisma bonus is a 5 or 4. Which one?
She said 4.
Okay, so now it's going to be a 6. So whatever you do here, these 4d6 re-rolling ones plus 6. That's going to be awesome.
Wow. Okay. Let's see.
And Ron,
22.
22 points of damage.
Oh, and the healing.
Okay. It looks really rough, but it's not fallen yet. Now go ahead. Now, how much healing did it do to Danny and Valdara?
1d6 plus charisma modifier.
Which, because you empowered spell, is 7. So 1d6 plus 7 to each one of those guys. Tell me what Valdara gets first, please, because I'm greedy.
So 10.
Awesome. And what's Danny get?
Also 10.
That's awesome, dude.
Hey, guess what? Now we have Hulu or whatever it's called. We come off last name Sandy.
Okay. So with that, that was your major action, correct?
Yep.
Okay, you have your movement and a bonus action left still. What would you like to do?
I would like to use my movement to move as close to the creature as I can.
Okay, which is 30 foot.
And cast Ardanian's Radiant Flail.
Is that a bonus action?
Yes, it is. Second level.
Okay, I have a weird question. What the hell happened to Tamyra?
Huh?
Over here on the side, I'm having. There you are. I don't know why you're there. I got you in Ignatius' folder for some reason. I don't know what the hell's going on. Okay, we got you. You're back.
Oh gosh.
All right. I was like, where'd you go? Okay. So let's go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. That puts you right there within melee range of it, Tamyra. Explain to them what, just in your own words, what Ardanian's Radiant Flare or Radiant Flail does.
Okay. So the flail takes the form of a large great flail breathed in radiant flames.
Okay.
So
it increases the range of it, and it makes her flail grow in size. The chain grows, and the flames erupt on it, and it turns it into, like, I think it can reach up to 10 or 15 foot, right, Alex?
15 feet.
Yeah. So now her melee range is 15 foot as she casts on this thing. It's baller. Okay, now you used your major action to do your spell. You've used your bonus action to invoke that. So in theory, all your attacks are gone, but you have a skill that gives you a possibility of extra attacks per round. Okay, I believe it's on your skill sheet. Let me look and see what that means.
Just the salmon. The rest of
Anything
it.
else?
It is called.
Yeah.
Oh, what the hell? What the hell's the name of that feat, that skill, Danny? Where you spend skill points on it and you can have a roll, you get an extra attack per round.
What?
Doesn't matter what they say. We're in
It is.
What is this?
Okay.
Oh my god.
Do you see it, Alex? It's on the left-hand side of your skills and feats sheet.
Swift attacker.
Swift attacker.
Ah,
Like Swift caster, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So, I know there's a lot of pieces to this, right?
Yeah.
So you have a chance to roll for a DC, and you could possibly get an extra attack per round now if you beat the DC.
wow.
Okay, so I think on that Swift attacker, it'll tell you there's a certain difficulty class you got to beat. And if you're able to roll and get that, you get an extra melee attack on your turn.
Okay, so it says Dex +1 to chance of gaining a single extra attack on your turn per SC
Yep, and you've got how many skill points on it?
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
2.
Okay, so whatever you roll on your D20, add 2 to it. And if you beat that number, you get an extra attack per round.
Nice. I only got a 7,
No, you did not get
so
it.
I failed.
Okay, so that would pretty much be the end of your turn.
Okay.
Okay, but the things you did were fantastic. Not only did you put an awesome blow that could have possibly finished it off, but you healed Bast and Valdara both in the same time. But now the creature has snapped back to its senses. Okay? With that, it is Valdara's turn. Okay, Danny, I need you to roll 1d20 and a 1d4 and tell me what you get as a DC.
$22.
Ah, fuck. Yep. Okay. So as that happens, and you're staring down, you're looking at her in the eyes, this is a great moment. And she looks at this creature fairly from eye to eye. You can see her face tense. And there seems to be something in here that is driving her and making her more angry than this just being a normal animal or creature she's slaying. She looks dark. Okay? Ignatius, you see the shadows once again start to spread around her feet. And she looks between the horns at this creature with its head before her, just looking up at her. Hell, and now it's raising its horns back up again because it's been knocked out of this trance from her. And the drool and stuff is starting to come off its fangs, and the behemoth begins to open its mouth wide, getting ready to come down on her with a bite, going to try to eat her. She takes the blade and she holds it to her side and she looks up. And all of a sudden, Danny, you see a black, ghostly aura go around her blade as you hear her words sound like they're being said backwards at the same time they're being said forwards, like some kind of crazy, audible anomaly. Okay? As she looks up at it and the mouth opens up and you're on top of it and you're feeling its jaw will start to open up and go down onto it. She looks at it, she goes, "Come eat this," she says. She leaps into the air and she throws out a slash. And the only thing this can remind you of is something that Valimar pulled off in the bar, the Drunken Mug, one time, where a blade of some kind of energy went through and cut through a table and took out one of those half orcs. You remember this?
I do, but Bast was actually passed out because of
Oh.
the bullshit Constitution save.
Okay. So what this looks like, like, let me see here. How much does Hellish Rebuke do, Danny?
That is, it's D10s. Let me find it real quick. Hellish Rebuke. 2d10 plus 1d10 for each level above first.
Okay. So as she looks up and flies her blade and goes like this up towards the head of the sucker as she jumps. 13, 23. That's a hit. It doesn't breach, but it hits, and a slice of energy goes up through the teeth of this creature. I'm going to roll damage to see what this does. Okay. You see lightning engulfing the blade from the thing that Tamyra just did on her blade once again. That's 4d6 then. And then this extra effect that she has unlocked upon herself is a lot. That's 3d10. It does these, Danny. It does these simultaneously, which is what's insane about it. Oh my. 6, 12, 17, 20, 27, 33, 38. Okay, as this full turn action goes, she does 49 points of necrotic slashing damage. As she jumps up, what you see, Danny, is mind-boggling. You see the actual blade of energy that goes up through, splits through the teeth, and you see a sharp burst of blood from about 2 foot in around the front of its mouth shoot up as if some kind of invisible force sent a slice of energy cutting it through its mouth from between the teeth and up through the top of the nozzle of this creature. As it does, it sprays you with just a little bit of flash blood, and you smell death and decay. As it's done, you look down and you see Valdara just turns her back to this creature and takes slow steps away as you feel the creature start to give and wobble and falls forward, landing some 5 or 10 foot behind her in a slow heap. As you are down, roll me a dexterity check, Danny.
$19.
You are able to roll off of the head of this thing as it crashes onto the ground, putting you about 10 foot behind Tamyra and the creature and Valdara as it crumples to the ground, defeated and lifeless.
Bast with his, as it'd be his round now, uses his bonus action to cast Healing Light from his Celestial Warlock kit. 2, 10 points of radiant healing to Valdara. What you'd see is as he hits the ground, the dagger that he's holding disappears, and the one that was laying in the dirt disappear, and he draws a rune in the air that lights up.
Roll me a charisma saving throw.
Natural 20.
Okay. As you do that, you hear a voice inside your head, Danny. Okay. Just a minute. You hear this whispered voice. Just a minute. Let me save this. And the voice says to you, she is mine. And as that voice comes over you faintly, you find yourself looking around. You don't know where this has come from. When you cast your spell, all of a sudden you hear some kind of grunt of frustration because of your high roll. No matter. And after that, your spell only has half of the effect that it would have normally. How much healing does she get?
5.
5, and that's reduced. That's reducing it to half of that.
Yeah.
Correct. As that happens, you can react to that however you would like to. As she walks away, you see it as it goes in. The shadows seem to shrink back in around her feet. As she takes that, and her shoulders kind of swell up a little bit, and you see that kind of come over her. You're able to fight through whatever it was, whatever she tapped into. And her body was able to accept the healing that you had given her. With that, the battle seems to have been won. She stops and looks over her left shoulder and takes her sword and puts it back onto her back in between the large sheath that she carries. Tamyra, you would have seen what she did. You've never seen her do that particular skill before. Okay? And you know as well as anyone that she's a badass. She can do things. She has things, but you can detect good and evil as a paladin by nature at a certain point. I'm going to say for theatrics that you sense it's not exactly evil, but a darkness around her that came for a moment and then left once she expelled it into this sword art that she created. It released that energy out of her and made her enemy suffer for it. Ron, with that, are you landing or are you staying in flight?
I would land close to them by Valdara.
Okay. Okay, as you do so, the crowd seems to be cheering quite a bit, but to tell you the truth, Tamyra and Danny, to you it's more silent. You have more worries on your mind than just the praise and cheer of fans. You've seen a little touch of something here that concerns you. But the cheering slowly does start to overcome that worry, and you feel the gratitude and joy as you manhandled this creature possibly even better than the first group did in the way that you were able to control the fight and the creature and take it down. In large part to Ignatius for being able to do it, and then the teamwork of Tamyra for keeping him safe so he was not targeted in that time, and for Danny to be able to bring down the big hits in between. It was a very good team effort on everybody's part. The fight went very well, although there were some heavy blows taken. This was a very difficult fight, and you guys have done very well. With that, Drayden stands out there, and he's walking up to you, Danny. And he comes up to you for the long handshake that he customarily does for you. And he's coming in towards you with that. And he's just grinning, showing one of his canine teeth as he has that kind of halfway snarl kind of look to it when he smiles as he's walking up to you. It seems like he's coming to congratulate you.
As he grabs his hand, he grabs his hand as well. When he reaches across, he says, "Show him what the real Drayden does. Those pale in comparison."
He just smiles and he goes, he clears his throat for just a minute. He goes, "Learn to appreciate what you've just done as well." He goes, It was a well-deserved victory on your part and your team. He looks up at Ignatius as he lands down. The wings fold back into his back, and he lands on his feet again. He looks at you. He says to you, things have become very, very interesting. He says in his scratched, distant voice, as he looks up to Ignatius. Ignatius, you land. You see Drayden, what is the actual form of the spiritual guardians that Danny summoned, to his side. And at that point, you would be landing close to them. Is there anything you would like to say to either one of them, or do you want to go over to Valdara? Do you want to meet with Tamyra? Do you want to walk off of here? What is it you would like to do?
I would approach Valdara and kind of quietly, softly, ask her if she's doing okay. Maybe pick a little monster gut out of her hair or whatever.
Okay. As you walk up there, she looks at you, and as you reach up to pull some of the pieces of this, that, and stuff out of that long mop of black hair that she usually keeps pulled over one side of her head, she looks at you for just a moment. But when she sees your kind smile and sees your intent, she kind of looks down. She goes, I know it's a mess, right? Well, no one ever took anything down that big without getting a little bit dirty. And she looks at you. She goes, except for you, it would seem. She goes, I guess you weren't supposed to be the one in there hacking and slashing anyway. She kind of nods. She's breathing heavy. She's beat up pretty bad, but it's almost like she looks more content now than you've seen her before. This battle, this getting to do this, has seemed to subdue some kind of itch. It's almost like she's addicted to caffeine and she just got to drink a pot of coffee. I mean, this is the way that she seems as she lets you pull that from her hair. Roll me a charisma saving throw, and I'm going to roll one from her to see how your and hers bond does from this.
I got a 10 total.
Okay, she rolled a natural 20. That's fantastic. Okay, so for everybody watching, how I do this is there are different levels of friendship and camaraderie that different players go through. And when they have moments like these, and I kind of pick and choose them, I have different DCs. And what they are is they are to be a base of what both of these people do together. So in total, Ron got a 10, and I just got a literal 25. Okay? So that beats the first step of these two's bond getting closer. So it helps us role play. In other words, you may have a character that's in the game, acts like they don't like anyone, isn't a part of the crew and shit like that. That's always hard to go game with. But it's nice to have actual numbers and things that show that we are starting to grow in each other a little bit. And we just crushed the first DC. Usually it'll be a 20 is the first one. Then there's a 30. Then there's a 40. Then there's a 50. And these get higher and higher and higher as you go. And there are different bonuses to them depending on how we do. And we just crushed the first one. So when Ron and I, Valdara and Ignatius interact now, there's a bit of camaraderie and we can role play to that effect. And it's proven, and I'll make a note of that on my character sheet now, as would he. Okay? So that's something I like to do in our games, just to remember the ties that we have to people. With that, it's almost like you're being able to pet a wolf on the head, Ron. It's kind of a nice change from that, and you don't get a sense of any of the darkness that seemed to surround her at the final moment of the fight. With that, as the very first fight as it happened, King Omadon stands up again and raises his own blade up to the crowd as they cheer wildly. He'd actually do like a wave kind of thing of cheering as he moves his sword from one side to the other and smiles and looks down at Valimar and Landorus as he's having a little bit of fun with the people, as he cocks an eyebrow, has kind of a clever grin on his face. He says in that deep, robust voice that he has, "Well done, warriors of New Gemdar. I can see we have all the talent we will ever need to keep these lands safe. As the second incarnation of this great city shall stand strong against the onslaught of the giants from the north. Now let us prepare for our next contest. Good luck to them. They have a extraordinarily tough act to follow." Looks down with a knowing look. The guards come down to rope up and haul off the remains of the behemoth. And as the last time that it happens, the drums stop. But at this time, there's something a little bit different. Ignatious, you clue into this before anyone else does. Tamyra, I'm going to say that your character is possibly very concerned about Valdara, and you want to make your way to her and Ron as well.
Okay.
As you make your way to her, and I'll go through that conversation in just a minute, as you two are the closest of anyone. You grew up sisters practically. Ron kind of looks away to give you a little bit of privacy, and he looks to the portal. And he sees the chain. And whereas last time the portal closed and cut the chain in half, you hear a loud clanging sound. And the chain is lifted up into this portal area, the blizzard and snow flowing through once again, as you hear a hush come over the crowd, almost some kind of panic. In that moment, the chain gets thrown or tossed into the ring. And you hear these deep, echoing words. All of you do, but Ron, you're looking deep into the portal now. And you come eye-to-eye contact with a giant on the other side of this that cannot come through. As it crouches down and looks through, is almost as if it's looking through bulletproof glass into the arena. Its head comes down. It talks in a very deep, rumbling voice. And it says something in giant kin language that you can't quite understand. But it looks left and right. The pale face of this creature and the largeness and that beard actually being frozen to the side of its head. The hair all pulled back. This seems to be a large, muscular, humanoid creature that would be every bit of at least 35 to 40 foot tall. As it gets down on its knee and puts its elbow in there and looks through the portal and takes its finger and pokes at it, and you see a shockwave of energy go across, almost like you were touching a ripple of water. It looks all up along, and it says it's saying different words, and the drums have stopped in the background. It looks up and it locks eyes of King Omadon up into the crowd. You don't understand anything it says from this point other than 3 words that draw the audience to a complete silence. Omadon will die. As it says those 3 words, after a long chant of other giant, you see a grin come across its face and a slow, deep chuckle as it stands up and the portal seizes and closes. There's a hush over the crowd now. Oma, you were up in the audience and you noticed this as well. The fear doesn't affect you as much as you have other pressing things on your mind, but it is a hefty moral blow to everyone in a moment where we felt victory. Now there's more concern. This is the first some of these people have ever locked eyes with a giant, although they were safe. It makes you wonder, is the festival just a crazy person's planet making us wish that there was hope that this war can go well. You know, the city of New Gemdar is in complete stage of festival and extravaganza celebrating this battle coming up. The people gain courage from it. It's like a big, any festival you can imagine, just all throughout the city, people talking about the war up ahead. What kind of heroes are going to arise from this? But when brought face to face with this being, just one of them, you feel some of that heroism shrink a bit from everyone. With that, we're going to go ahead and end tonight's session. Okay. We've got some surprises in store where we're going to head next, and it's going to be a lot of up to the rest of you guys. We have so many different things going on. We have hunts we can do for the harvest, for the heart of the beast. We have the more of this epic tale trying to bring together Carcera and Ardania and seeing what that union would cause us. We have whatever Oma's character is going through, the small Native American looking cleric. We may want to help her go to her homeland and take care of some nightmares and memories for her character. There are so many different options and ways we can go. I'll let you guys decide what adventure you want to go on. Okay? But with this, there will be money involved. And after some other groups do their battles too, there could possibly be a contract for some of you guys, depending on how well they do. And definitely there will be a meeting at some point with the king. Danny, did you have any questions?
No, actually, the only thing Bast would probably motion to Ignatious and start walking toward the king, because he knows he's got to meet with the king with Ignatius, and if he can get that out of the way without having to go to the palace where Landorus will disarm him.
Okay, what are you doing then?
Kind of motions for, he motions for Ignatius and says, I think we're going to watch the next bout with the king.
Okay.
I
Tamyra?
would,
Go ahead, Ron. I'm sorry.
obviously, I would, still feeling quite, well, combination of energized and then concerned with seeing that giant. I would definitely go with Bast to see the king.
Okay. And before we close tonight, I do want to give Tamyra and Valdara a moment to speak. I forgot that she was going up to her. Alex, and no pressure at all, but is there anything you would like to say to Valdara? You have an idea what you guys have been through. You know, you've been tight. You know the things of your childhood. You have traveled and been on many, many different hunts together. Have always taken care of each other almost in contest throughout the years to see which one of you is the stronger one of the two. And you've never seen this level of darkness come out of her. And you know there's this shadowy spot where she was gone for almost a 5 or 6 month period of time that she never talks about. And the only thing she's ever clued into you and told you about this time was a dark side of herself came out, and she wanted to make sure she was far away from you because she would never want you to see her that way.
Ah.
Okay? So what would you have to say to her, if anything, as you go up to her after the fight that you guys all together just won?
Let's see.
And I don't mean to put you on the spot. It's okay. If there's nothing, there's nothing. And you could think about it, and then we could do it at the beginning of the next campaign too, if you want to do that.
Okay, I think I have an idea of what I want to say. The strength may take its toll, but remember the light inside of you.
Remember, there's a light inside of you. She looks over to you, and she puts her hand on the side of your face, and she wipes off some dirt off from underneath of your left eye. And she goes, as long as I have you around me, you're all the light that we need. And she kind of sighs and looks down. And she says the word thank you without verbally saying it. Her lips just say thank you. And then she turns and continues walking the way she was to get off of the battlefield. Okay? With that, we'll go ahead and end tonight. So I'll stop recording, and then we'll have a little bullshit session and freak out about the really cool things that we all did, like a bunch of nerdy kids, because that's what you do. And yeah, I hope everyone that watches this video enjoys it. And we will continue with whatever direction these crazy people go in next time next Wednesday. So thanks, and we'll see you all then. Yep.